But I'd be remiss if we didn't talk about this one team that is not in the playoffs, the team with the best record that didn't make it in this year. The St. Louis Blues were from St. Louis, obviously, and they made news today or this week announcing that they would be taking the interim tag of head coach Drew Bannister. Drew Bannister came in December 12th after Craig Berube was fired following a loss to the Red Wings. I hated the move. I hated firing Berube. Berube's my guy. I'll always have love for him winning us a cup. But it made sense. Hockey coaches those jobs are about as fickle as any job in professional sports. If something goes wrong, they were the first ones to fall on the sword, so it made sense. Bannister did a decent job. I can't lie. He doesn't instill the most confidence in me. I don't see him as a long-term answer, but I think for where we're looking this next year, give him a chance. He unleashed the youth a little bit. He was able to get good minutes for guys like Zach Bolduc, Matt Kessel, Scott Perunovich, who I really want to see break out next year, Zach Dean as well. He unleashed those guys a little bit. It seems like the players like him. It seems like he gets a good message across. So I'll give him a shot. The guy I wanted to see, it sounds like the Blues had their heart set on Jim Montgomery. Jim Montgomery is the coach of the Bruins. They blew a 3-1 lead last year, his first year on the job, even though they broke the record for points. This year, they were up 3-0 on the Leafs. They went to a Game 7, and all the reports were if they lost, Jim Montgomery is out the door. They won. They're going on. Doesn't surprise me that 3 days later, the interim tag is taken off of Drew Bannister. I think it makes sense. The guy I would have liked to see, though, is David Carl. He's the head coach at the University of Denver. Young guy, 34 years old, has won 2 national championships in the last 3 years. I would have loved to see the Blues go bold and try to hire a guy like that. But realistically, knowing where this team's at this year, I think Bannister makes sense for one more year. Who knows where we're at this upcoming year? I don't know if we're a 92-point team like we were in 2024. And if we are, I don't know if that's a great place to be. I think you almost would rather sell off a little bit and fall down, get another top 10 draft pick, because I don't know if you're able to move up into a legitimate Stanley Cup contender with what you have right now. The 2 biggest question marks are what you do between Jordan Kyrou and Pavel Buchnevich. Kyrou's no movement clause, it's a no trade clause, that kicks in starting this year. There's a lot of complaints about Kyrou's game. He's got 6 years left on that deal at $8.125 million. And Pavel Buchnevich is due for a huge extension, a huge raise next year. I think you don't start the season with both of them. I would rather see them trade Kyrou and sign Buchnevich to a 5-6 year deal. I think that would be a great value deal. But I don't know if that gets done. I feel like Buchnevich would be easier to trade at this point in time than Kyrou would, because Kyrou is younger. He has more term, but there's concerns about his game, about his character, because of what happened this year, the deal with Craig Berube, getting booed out of the stadium by fans and everything like that. Buchnevich has just put his head down and gone to work. He had a bad year this year, but you know what you're getting out of him. So I'm really curious. The other thing, I wonder what happens with Jordan Binnington. Goalies are so inconsistent. Binnington was spectacular this year. He's the only reason why we came close to a playoff spot, him and Robert Thomas. I think I might be open to the idea of trading him. That sounds crazy to say. I love Jordan Binnington. Love him. Everything about him. But is he going to be better than he was this year? He's got 3 years left on a contract, $6 million per year. That's not a bad deal. You look at teams like the Kings, who have not had goaltending. Cam Talbot had a good start to the year. They got shelled by the Oilers. Goaltending is an obvious need. You have a team like the Devils, who do not have a clear-cut number one. They tried Vitek Vanacek last year, didn't work. They tried Akira Schmid last year, worked. This year, didn't work. There were reports about them trying to get a guy like Jacob Markstrom from the Flames. He hasn't gone anywhere yet. I think if you're going to trade Binnington, this is the time. I think you have a guy in Joel Hofer. Hofer had a really good year his rookie year. I think you give him, I don't want to say give him the keys to the city, but have him start 45, 50 games, sign a veteran fringe starter, a Linus Ullmark, Jeremy Swayman type situation, have him play about 35 or so games, and just see what you have. I don't think this team is a cup contender. They are too far away. They have to make too many fixes to be a cup contender. You have to overhaul the defense. You need more depth scoring. You can't play with 5 borderline fourth liners in this league and expect to win, especially in the Central Division. You can't. Colorado's better. Dallas is better. They're going to be for a long time. Winnipeg was way better this year. I don't know what their outlook is. Nashville's ahead of schedule. The Wild could be coming back. They had a bad year this year. Once they get the Suter and Parise cap recapture penalties off their books, look out. The Blackhawks are up and coming. Who knows what happens with the Utah? The outlook these next 2 to 3 years does not favor the Blues. So I think you trade Binnington. I don't want to see it. It's going to hurt my heart to see Binnington playing for another team. I've defended him more than just about anybody. But I think business-wise, it makes the most sense for the Blues.
When you first said that, I was like, why? Why? He, like you said, he was the main reason why we weren't one of the worst teams in the league. But the more and more I heard you speak about it, I do agree, we can get a really, really nice trade with him. It's hard because you grow connected to a player for so long. You want to see him in that blue and white, that blue and black, that blue and gold. But like you said, his contract is so movable. I think you got to do it as well. I hate to agree with that part, but like you said, we're stuck in the mud. Like, we're not going up. If anything, we're probably just going to head more down. Right? I think that's the way you got to run it. I think you do got to trade Binnington, but at the same time, it's just like it's going to hurt so much.
Yeah, I'm telling you right now, I think the Devils are a match made in heaven. They're going to try to get either him or Jacob Markstrom. There's reports of Yusei Saros and the Predators being available for trade. I wouldn't do that if I were them. They showed they're a playoff team. Are you going to be better trading a top 5 goalie in the league? I don't think you are. The Flames are on the downhill. The Blues are on the downhill. I think you offload those guys. I think that's an easy first-round pick. Honestly. You know how hard it is to trade for a good goaltender in this league? Goaltending now is about as inconsistent as it's ever been. A lot of the guys are young. A lot of the top guys are young. Jeremy Swayman's young. Connor Hellebuck has been in Winnipeg forever. He just signed an 8-year deal. You're not getting him. Your time to get him was last year before he signed that contract. Shesterkin's not going anywhere. Swayman, like I said, he's not going anywhere. There's plenty of teams that need goaltending help badly.
I gotta agree. I think Hoffer has something about him. Like, I don't know how to describe, but he just has that natural it, if that makes sense. Tommy, what do you think, bro?
Bro, don't ask me. Seriously, don't ask me. I don't know.
It's a sore subject for him. He's got a soft spot for Binnington like I do.
I do love Binnington, but obviously I haven't kept up as closely.
I was only watching the Blues this entire season, and when we didn't make it, I just stopped watching. But
yeah, I don't really, that's my thing. I don't even watch NHL unless it's Blues in the playoffs.
I think you gotta pull the trigger. As much as it's gonna hurt us, we got to.
I wouldn't say this if you didn't have a guy in Joel Hofer. Joel Hofer made a believer out of me, honestly. A 9-10-ish save percentage in your first year is not bad. We've had issues with guys before.
And a record as well.
Husso was inconsistent. Thomas Greiss last year wasn't great. Hofer you've had for a long time. You should know what you have in him by now. 9-10 your first year. That's why I'm saying don't make him your starter. Don't give him Hellebuck games. Don't make him play 65.
He's a big old
45,
goalie.
50,
too.
just do it. I think that's my plan. I'll probably make a video on my own talking about this a little bit more in the future.